Do I think about Rome a lot? Well, up until recently, I would have said no, but now the answer is yes. I think about it all the time, and that's because of Anno 117 Pax Romana, developed and published by Ubisoft. Now, normally, I kind of hate real-time strategy games, but Anno 117 has completely won me over and makes me want to explore more RTS games in the future. And in this video, I'll explain how it managed to do that. I'll also explain why, even if you hate RTS games or feel like you're terrible at them, Pax Romana is different. It's got a secret sauce, and I can't wait to share the recipe with you. But first, remember, if you like what you see here, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and this channel a follow. It really does help me out. Thank you. So there's a reason I usually avoid real-time strategy games, and that reason usually involves my town bursting into flames, or a riot breaking out, or me being a million gold pieces in debt all within the first 10 minutes of my adventure. And no, I don't know how I managed to do that. I think I'm just cursed when it comes to real-time strategy games, which is why I normally steer clear of them. But, and full disclosure, when Ubisoft unexpectedly reached out asking if I wanted a PlayStation 5 review code, I thought it was a good opportunity to really buckle down and learn some RTS mechanics. And now, nearly 30 hours later, not only do I feel like I've gotten the hang of Anno 117, but I'm absolutely having a blast. The hours fly by when I'm playing this game. It is crazy how addicting it is. So let me explain how it got its hooks in me, because plot twist, it didn't start off too well. If you saw my demo impressions video for Anno 117 on my History and Games channel, you'll notice how much I struggled to understand what was going on. And that's because, like most RTS games, Anno has two minor but significant problems. The first is that the tutorial feels more like a refresher for veteran players than a proper, accessible tutorial for RTS noobs like me. For example, the whole point of the game is to build a settlement, either in sunny, easygoing Latium or rainy, rocky Albion, and then grow that settlement into a thriving city. But the tutorial focuses on what you can do to build your city, not how to efficiently and effectively go about doing so. Nor does it explain what all the tool icons are, so it's hard to understand all the options available to you when building your city. You either have to mouse over icons individually or puzzle it out for yourself. The second bigger problem I have with the demo, though, is the overwhelming user interface. From the moment you start the game, you're presented with a literal Ferris wheel of icons on the bottom left of the screen. What the heck are these? Well, as it turns out, these dials represent things like the raw materials available to you in a specific area, or the minimap, or buttons that let you change the time of day or how fast time flows. You can even see which way the trade winds are blowing so you can trade more efficiently. I'm not sure why these are grouped together the way they are, though. Maybe something about actions you can do that aren't directly related to your settlement, but it's kind of weird. And that's not all. You also have a vertical tabbed menu on the upper left of your screen, used for notifications, quest markers, diplomatic opportunities, so I guess anything to do with communication. And then at the very top of the screen are your city and population stats, which tells you how much money you have and how your city's population is doing in terms of health, happiness, and safety. And finally, if you click on your character portrait at the top of the screen, there are even more menu tabs to dive into, like a tab where you can spend accumulated fame points to unlock new things like new skins for buildings, new gods that give specific buffs to your population, or extra raw materials if you need them. Individually, these UI menus actually aren't that complicated, but together, this weird mix and match of UI styles is wildly confusing to the uninitiated. It took me a really long time to untangle what all these different menus were and what they did. But once things finally clicked for me, they really clicked for me. I'm not kidding when I say the hours just melted away as I waffled back and forth between different settlements in Albion and Latium, trying to turn them into amazing cities with a happy populace. Okay, so what was the epiphany for me? What made this game go from oddball to awesome? Well, I discovered that this game is secretly an RPG. You guys know me, I love RPGs, and when I realized this game was basically a role-playing game, everything fell into place. And the first RPG element I want to talk about are stats and attributes, because that's the RPG thing, right? Now, normally stats and attributes are associated with the heroes of the story. They're the ones that affect the world around them. But in Anno, outside of your soldiers, whom you'll need to defend your settlements from the occasional pirate or angry Celtic tribe, people are pretty passive. They have attributes like health and happiness, but the people themselves don't affect things, they're affected by things. And they're affected by buildings. Buildings are the true heroes in this game. They do come with stats and attributes that affect your people's health, happiness, needs like food and entertainment, and even people's safety. Different buildings affect different stats, and what's wild is that many buildings come with an area of effect spell. Okay, I know there are no spells in Anno 117, but bear with me for just a second as I continue my RPG analogy. So if you've ever played an action RPG, you're familiar with area of effect spells. Like whenever you cast a healing spell in, say, Final Fantasy XIV, whoever is in the area covered by a healing circle is going to get healed. Likewise, if an enemy is targeting your party, you'll want to stay away from the area being affected so your characters don't get hurt. Anno, and by extension other RTS games, kind of works the same way. Almost every building in Anno 117 comes with an area of effect represented by either a green arrow, which means your populace benefits from it, or a red arrow, which may decrease their health and happiness. By the way, some buildings have positive and negative traits that you have to consider when placing them in your settlement. On top of that, some buildings have a passive area of effect that changes positively or negatively depending on the proximity of raw materials or the proximity of other buildings in the area. So the Woodcutters building is a great example of this. Having to consider the effect one building has on others is a fun and welcome bit of strategy, and seeing a bunch of green arrows on my screen when I plunk down a market or a shrine is very satisfying. What's even more satisfying is seeing my city grow and get prettier by the day, which leads us to the actual city building, and that is also like an RPG. If you put on your role-playing hat, which is really fun to do in this game, you can imagine wanting to build a settlement and turn it into a great city. But first you need people, and people need a place to live. So it makes sense that first you build a woodcutter building so you can cut down trees, and then a sawmill to turn logs into planks for housing, and a warehouse to store your planks. And it makes sense to build these things close together in order to cut down the time it takes to actually make a house. Once you have homes, people will move in, but as governor, you'll need to provide food and clothing for people, so you need to find a fishing spot for them, and then build a hemp farm so you can make textiles, and then build a place for a spinner to turn that textile into clothing. Lots and lots of role-playing logic and mechanics here. Oh, also, then people need a market to sell their wares and some sort of entertainment so they're happy. They'll also need a doctor's office, a fire station, a city watch, trade ships, and ships that protect trade ships. And you'll need barracks to house a little army because there are hostile forces in the game and you want to protect your people from them. Or, you could always just build an army for the sake of conquering your neighbors. It's kind of up to you. By the way, I'm still new at Anno, so my military isn't the best, but I have to say picking a fight in this game is kind of fun. And that's due to yet another RPG-like element in this game, which is a weapons triangle. Yes, just like in Fire Emblem, there's a rock, paper, scissor element to combat, and maybe that's common in RTS games, but honestly, as an RTS noob, I didn't expect that at all, and I love it. So if you like Fire Emblem, you might get a kick out of this. At any rate, I do prefer the diplomatic route because it gives me more time to grow and beautify my city. I love that you can decorate the place with trees and statues and pools and whatnot, and then just watch people go about their day from high above, or better yet, see things at street level. Fun fact, if you input the old Konami code, up, down, left, right, circle X on your PlayStation 5 controller, you can see your city up close and personal. Granted, it looks janky as hell. I mean, some of these characters look like they're straight from the PlayStation 2 era, but it's still cool to walk around your city and check out what's going on. And overall, the graphics are gorgeous. Anno 117 is a really pretty game with a really pretty soundtrack, so thumbs up on both of those things. Now granted, this game may be pretty and pretty easy to learn, but I admit it's kind of hard to master. There's a lot of juggling to do. People need things, but you can't just plunk down buildings wherever you want. Some buildings need specific terrain, you have to consider their area of effect, some materials just aren't available to you, so you either have to settle a new island to gain access to those materials or find a trading partner who has those materials for you, and as you grow your city, it gets harder and harder to guarantee people's happiness and well-being. I have spiraled more than once trying to figure out how to balance everything all at once. But luckily, things are made just a little bit easier by yet another RPG element, a massive skill tree. Or rather, 3 skill trees that are divided between economics, civics, and military skills. It's here that you can unlock things like paved roads, new military units, specialists who can help increase your city's productivity or health. You can even unlock the ability to place buildings in marshy land or gain access to drainage systems that will drain marshy land so you can put down more houses and farms that produce more things for more people. I'm telling you, this is a secret RPG and it is so much fun to unlock new skills and abilities. Now there is one more major RPG element I want to talk about, and here my feelings are kind of mixed, and that element is the story. So far, it's pretty basic. You play as either Marcus or Marcia, a young noble who unwillingly gets caught up in a bit of political intrigue and is banished to the faraway lands of Albion, where they must build a city and keep it safe from hostile Celts and pirates prowling the seas. Now, I'm a little disappointed that despite the name Anno 117 Pax Romana, there's not a single historical figure in sight. No, you will not be helping Hadrian, who actually became Emperor of Rome in 117, build a wall or a library anytime soon. So that's the bad news. But the good news is that one story path, the one for Marcia, is actually kind of interesting. It's all about how a young girl manages to become governor of not one, but 2 settlements while having to navigate Rome's fierce patriarchy. So how does she do it? Well, no major spoilers here, but let's just say she's kind of forced into a weekend at Bernie's type of situation, which results in both some pretty humorous and harrowing interactions between her and the leading men of Rome. I wish there were more cutscenes and story scenarios to flesh this out, because right now her story is still pretty bare bones. In fact, the whole story ends super abruptly, and in places it almost feels like ChatGTP kind of had to help the story over the finish line. Also, for some reason, the end cutscenes look really cheap in places. Hopefully, more story and better cutscenes are coming in future updates, and hopefully by then I'll have had the chance to check out the multiplayer, which I haven't had time for just yet. In the meantime, now that I've completed the story campaign, I'm going to dive right into sandbox mode and go really wild, creating the prettiest, coolest settlements in all the Roman Empire. I think it's safe to say that I have really enjoyed my time with Anno 117 Pax Romana. It isn't perfect, but it is a delightful secret RPG, and it made me much more confident as an RTS player. Although, with that said, I could still use some advice, so if you have any tips and tricks for me and the rest of the audience, please feel free to add them to the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you later.